This is Stock Talk on July 30th. You're looking at SPY or SPY on the 180-day chart, which generally tracks the general market movement. So thank you for all of your ticker submissions that is pulled up on my screen. So I'll get to those in a moment. But ask yourself, did the support and resistance lines make any sense from yesterday's video? And you guys can know that, well, I've showed you this chart several times, right? And that the light blue line at 283.80 or 284 was the resistance, right? And I showed you guys that this was the resistance, and that when we were coming down and we got rejected on Friday, I told you guys that we need to probably go sideways and hit the 20 EMA or the light blue line and for another possible move down. And this is exactly what we saw today. So here we are right now on the SPY. Here's rejection at the 20 EMA. You guys can see that the tail kind of hit the 20 EMA, and now we're coming back down. Now the question is, looking at intraday SPY, did we manage to hit my next support line, which is around 279.08 or 279, give or take? We didn't. And as a matter of fact, I was a little surprised that we did bounce around here, around 279.43. So I could shift it just slightly higher. However, you guys can imagine during intraday, we had that resistance area down here. Do you guys remember that this was the previous support? And can you guys see that the previous support acted as a resistance? These are concepts that we see over and over again. That is taught more in the course that I'm developing. But in the meantime, you guys can see that we got rejected twice here, and now we're, kind of coming back down. So at least we have a small support at 279.43. That is what the market told us. I'll make sure I keep that in mind tomorrow. But in the meantime, what's the overall trajectory? The trajectory is downwards. And I just have to re-mention that, we have a support around 279.06, and that you guys can see we're kind of far extended over the 20 EMA again. So, there's a possibility, a good possibility, that we'll test this area tomorrow. Now, of course, this also depends on what happens pre-market and post-market. Perhaps we may gap down. That is, we'll see during the after market hours. But one thing to note is you guys can see the moving averages over here, which is around 276, 277. That is going to act as a support if we continue on lower, closing hourly below this low. And finally, this low down here at 273.45, that is the overall bullish signal for the market. If we start closing under that, of course, we don't have to worry right now, but if we do start closing under that point, then we have to evaluate other trajectories for the market. But for now, this looks like a simple correction back to the downside. Again, nothing really wrong with the markets overall. Overall, we are in a bullish market, but in the short term, we are certainly in the correction phase. All right, TVIX, volatility. So volatility, as we expected, you guys can see that we pretty much came up here and we reconfirmed the 20 EMA or the light blue line, and now we're heading back up. And that's pretty much all that's to it, right? As SPY, and if SPY does continue to go down, we expect volatility to continue pushing higher. Note that volatility doesn't have to obey the moving averages that well. Volatility will do its own thing, but one thing you want to do is keep in mind that if markets do fall below the support, volatility will increase and will go continue heading higher. So just keeping that in mind. Now, before I continue on further, I would like to thank everyone for watching these videos. I say this over and over again, but you guys are what makes the channel possible. So in the meantime, if you guys do feel like these videos benefit you, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't like it, I do hope you like it in the future, because I do it for you guys, and I do it for you guys almost every day. Not every single day, but almost every day, because I feel like Sundays to Thursdays are the prime time in terms of looking at the markets. Fridays, breathe, rest, take a day or two off from the markets, and then go back into it the next week, all fresh and ready. Right? Crude oil futures. Now, crude oil, my goodness, here we are. So we have seen a massive up move today. Now, the question is, we've talked about crude oil, the potential for it to come down. in the past few days. And you're like, well, Kevin, like, didn't you say it was going to come down? Like, isn't, and this is why I said that I'm not in a crude oil trade. I'm not going to short crude oil, certainly as it's moving higher, but I'm not going to go long crude oil, especially when I pointed out that there were several resistance areas. And I actually drew in one more line today just to reiterate that we do have a resistance at 70.76. Did we reach that number today? No. But we did have a pretty nice bullish streak. But does it take the bear flag pattern off the table? No, it doesn't, right? The bear flag pattern could certainly still play out at the resistance area for a possible leg down. Now, guys, if crude oil doesn't do a bear flag pattern, continues, kind of be bullish, and then that way, I'm fine missing the crude oil move back to the upside like this. I'm completely okay. But one thing to note is you guys can see that 76.40 area. What is that area? That's the major resistance in which I would be looking for a crude oil reversal or short crude oil. But until then, I'm fine missing out on the trend here, and I'm perfectly fine if it comes down, I can look into buying crude oil there. But right now, since it's doing this, kind of going higher thing, but really we're at many resistance areas, not unlikely for me to play a crude oil position. /NG, natural gas. So natural gas continues to look very strong, very strong. On the 180-day chart, so if you guys were in natural gas, look at this, right? Confirmations of the support at the 20 EMA line, and we are back on the uptrend. Natural gas went up a little over 0.5%, and then we have the ticker UGAZ, which is the ticker you guys should be looking at if you guys are in natural gas. This is just one that continues to trend higher. $58.20. Last time we talked about it, it was around $57. And before we talked about it around $54, $55. This is one that you have to be monitoring, and because natural gas is now shown a reversal, is on an uptrend, and guys, the trend is your friend. So UGAZ is one to watch at the very least. So put that one on your radar. What's the last one? GC, right? Gold futures. So gold futures, you guys can see, pretty much did nothing today. You guys can see that even though gold did nothing, JNUG or JNUG, which follows gold, went down over 1.5%. That's quite a big drop in my opinion for gold, given that it only dropped, very little on the futures. Why is that? Remember, we talked about how gold on the 1 year, 1 day chart, you guys can see this pattern, this horizontal pattern looks a lot like this, where we're trying to get to the right, consolidate, and there could be another move down. This could be preparing for that move down, right? That could be very possible. Well, of course, it could use that and move higher, but just based off of previous trends, can you guys see this? I mean, I don't really have to just mark anything. If you give this chart to any guy or gal, they're gonna say, oh, what's the best trend? It's gonna go down, right? You don't have to be a genius to kind of find this chart to see what trend it's going. So gold, let it do its own thing. Until then, we don't see any sign of reversal, so don't need to take any positions in my opinion. All right, looking at a couple of tickers, I think the first one you want me to look at was IQ. So IQ, here we go on the 100, 180 chart. You guys have to note that tomorrow we have earnings coming out at 7 p.m. Central. So, which is the conference call. So after market, of course, yeah, after market, we do have earnings coming out. So you guys have to keep in mind. Remember what my prediction was for IQ? Do you guys remember? Well, I made the prediction around these days over here. I said, and this was before the rejection down here, I said that there's a good possibility that we'll break the 200 period moving average. All right, there we go. That was one scenario. What was the second scenario? You guys remember the second criteria I said? I said there's a good possibility that we could drop below $30. Now, did we drop below $30? And the answer is no. We haven't dropped $30 yet, but certainly now that we're going right before earnings, there's certainly a potential for this one to drop below $30, perhaps even under $29. Okay? Perhaps even $28. But at that point, we'll reevaluate IQ, in my opinion, after earnings come out, but there is the potential for it to drop. In my opinion, for some reason, everyone feels that IQ is extremely bullish. And when everyone feels that IQ is bullish, they think $30 is a fantastic time to buy. chances are the stock will do some strange movement that catches everyone's off guard, and it's going to continue dropping. I'm not saying that it's going to drop on earnings tomorrow, but there's a possibility that it could drop below $29. So keep in mind. All right. So what are we doing? Oh, Twitter. Thank you for your comment on Facebook. What happened on... Whoa, what the... Hold on, let's see. Earnings again. So this is why we don't participate in earnings, number one. And... oh my goodness. Holy smokes. Okay, so hold on. Let me just take a look at... Well, okay, so Twitter, is one that continues to look very volatile. And the one thing that you guys can see, especially on the monthly chart, is a massive reversal candle that is likely to play to the downside for months to come. Does it mean that it can't recover back to the $35? It certainly can, but this is... wow. Okay. So yeah, this is coming on down, and I would not like to participate in this one as it moves lower. There's a lot of potential for it to drop to $28.53, $23.55, perhaps even under $20. But we'll get to that point when we get to it. But right now, certainly not a good time to look at Twitter. Whoa, Twitter, my goodness. I remember, guys. I remember when you guys see this bullish streak. Yeah, we did kind of correct down. And then we had this bullish streak from April 2018. You can see all the way to June 2018. And then we consolidated, and then that energy got released to the downside. Yikes, that's a big reversal signal. All right, what's next? We have CSCO. Oh, look at CSCO, guys. Look at this lower high line that we've made several times already, and this is the peak, right? This is the peak. 43.50 got rejected, coming on down. And that you guys can see that we're making a lower high formation. So there's certainly potential. Actually, in the more near term, we have a horizontal support. So you guys can see. Actually, let me put this down right here. Oh, there we go. Can you guys see that the support would be around 41.93? Again, this is a wedge pattern. Your margin for profit is closely getting to minimal, right? 2.5 percentage points. So if you guys got at the support, if it does go up, it could go up to the near-term resistance, but you guys got to be careful. As earnings is coming up, we're getting wedged in. Look for a potential move to the up or downside in that case, but certainly, this one could move in either direction, given that the margin of profit's getting slimmer. Trader Princess. Hey, Trader, where have you been? Did you see all the MUs that we've been covering lately? Okay, anywho, we'll take a look at MU in a moment. But Trader Princess. What are we looking at? This is Tesla, right? So Tesla, this is one where 8/1, that's in 2 days, August 1st, earnings coming out. Downward trajectory, false breakout over the resistance, and now heading down. Not one I would like to participate in. Again, this is one on a declining trajectory. Certainly, if people are not happy with Tesla's margin of profit or their debt or their loans or whatnot, then it's going to continue on lower. And you guys can imagine we're in the middle of the trajectory. It's on a declining pattern. Certainly, there's a potential for it to pop, go down significant. No, go down just quite a little bit at the very least on earnings if they just miss it by a little. So be careful with this one. The support's down here, right? The near-term support might be over here, 276, but the 180-day support is at 241. I'm not saying that it's going to drop to 241 tomorrow. I just said you got to be cautious as something's going down, that it could potentially do that. Okay, yeah. So thank you for your comment about Netflix. Yes, I answered. And K9. Yeah, interesting M1 Finance. I'll take a look at that. Thanks for your comment. I think I replied to your comment on YouTube. So Yeah, keep that coming. And guys, I appreciate all of the like banter back and forth. Giant, Rico, and Prashanth, and yeah, you guys are like talking to each other. That's great. I love to see you guys talking about AMD, talking about specific trends, and this is what it's all about, right? Building a community for us to talk with each other and make our best decisions. We generally don't make the best decisions by ourselves because we might be influenced by other factors. So I love that communication, so keep it coming. Luis, thanks for your comment. I like it. Abba, Terry, Twitter, we went over that. Thank you for that. And then K9, we have CMP, Compass Minerals. So let's zoom out. So one thing you guys realize is you guys can see that we have earnings coming up. Again, this one is one that if you have earnings, it could be a little bit deceptive. You guys can see upon earnings, we have some, sometimes it does really nothing. Sometimes we have a massive down streak. Sometimes we might get pulled up. So it's very deceptive in this case. And you guys can see that it doesn't obey a specific pattern. More recently, you guys can see a lower low, a lower high, and constantly getting rejected at the 150, the yellow line, 150 SMA, the moving average up here. So you guys can imagine, if you bought here, your potential for profit is really not that much given that earnings is coming out. Certainly there's a possibility for this one to come down as well. So, revisit this one if you want to, get in at some point, but the good area if you want to get into a declining pattern in this one would be around 56.37. So that's around $10 away. Allocate your risk effectively. And finally, we will take a look at MU. All right, Micron Technology. So here we are, right? Micron Technology, the thing about this pattern is it looks all right now, right? The uptrend is still intact on the 1-year chart. You guys can see that 52.43 would be the support area. So a daily close around that area or above that area would still put that uptrend intact. However, a daily close below that, and then things will be off the table until the future. Okay, so you guys got to keep that in mind, that if markets start shifting lower, MU could start dropping below the support level, and that's why you need to allocate your risk efficiently in this one as well. You got to keep in mind where we're at right now, and that if we do close below there, got to manage that risk. All right. And that goes to say, you guys can see what happened, right, with EL. I talked about this one in the past. It was looking great over here, but what happens when we break a moving average? It goes off the table. EL was off the table a while ago, right, guys? All right. So with that, that's the end of this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, taking a look at the trends, at the tickers that we talked about today. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Now, tomorrow's video will be late night, okay? Late night. So hopefully you guys like those late night videos while you're eating dinner or something. You guys can watch it. And yeah, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Look for what SPY does during the futures tonight. And we'll see what happens tomorrow if it does continue to decline. So thanks for watching this video, and see you guys tomorrow.